Hey, it's Soul, and this is my co-pilot, Bob. Say hi, Bob.
Hi, Soul, or hi, everybody.
We're here to answer your Legion-related questions. And by that, I mean we're going to take a lot of softball questions. We're going to avoid talking about things that are uncomfortable for us, but we're going to try to appease you as best as we can. Bob over here is going to read off the questions, and I'm going to knock them out. So, Bob, go ahead and get started.
Skewy says, will content in 7.3 follow a time gate model? Can you outline it?
Basically, yeah, there's going to be a combination of lots of stuff to do, followed by a time gating model. Now, keep in mind, it's going to be a much shorter timeline. It's not going to be a whole 12-week hoodoo-whatsits of waiting for one little segment to do after another. We're going to give you lots of chunky things to do over the course of 2 weeks.
Oh, I can't wait to get my hands on that stuff.
Oh, I'm sure you are, but wait, you don't have hands, dude.
Hey, why don't you bend over and I'll show you?
Okay, sorry. The whole Argus campaign is going to be compressed in just a couple of chapters. On top of that, as the first and second weeks go by, we're going to get more and more access to the zones and some of the features of this patch. Over these couple days, you're going to get access to more story, more content, more reputations, and you can start earning some of these snazzy rewards. The capstone is the Netherlight Crucible, which will be accessed 2 weeks after the patch. This is basically the thing that's going to make your character stronger. After getting lots of feedback and hate mail and flaming bags of poop, we think that this method is better, unlike 7.2, where day one, people were kind of scrambling around trying to figure out, oh, how do we unlock our artifact weapon so we can make it to our first raid night and, be all beefy. This time, we're going to try to pace this content out and make it so that you don't feel so overwhelmed at the start and you're not going to feel as lost. And of course, I'm telling you all this stuff anyway.
Let's keep the spoilers out, dude.
Exactly, we're going to try and avoid giving you surprises without spoiling you too much. Anyway, once the Netherlight Crucible is accessible to be unlocked, it's going to be just a quick little thing, or at least we're going to tell you it's going to be a quick thing, but who knows, there might be things that might change up until the patch is launched. Anyway, it's just going to be a couple of weeks, and for the most part, we do plan on having you be busy with all the different reputations and world quests and all the other stuff that's still going to be relevant throughout Legion. So alright, Bob, give me the next one, dude.
While Unstyle asks, is the requirement to unlock world quests on Argus account-wide, or do I have to do it with each character?
Basically, yeah. There are certain things that you're going to be unlocking at first, like the dungeon, the Netherlight Crucible, and all the different zones and what have you. But once you have those unlocked for the first time, you'll be able to access them on all of your alts. The exception would be like certain story progression-based quests, so there are certain things you won't be able to experience, but I guess the most important stuff, you'll be able to get them accessible account-wide. Boom! Next thing.
Cyward asks, any plans to remove the time gating for the third relic slot?
We have plans, and they're gone. As soon as you get to max level, boom, you get access to your third relic slots. And on top of that, just as a reminder, your artifact knowledge level will just jump up from whatever the heck it is, all the way up to knowledge level 41. That was easy. Next.
Cyward once again asks, are Legion invasions on the Broken Isles going to remain in 7.3?
For the foreseeable future, yes. So, yeah, you'll be able to level your alts like hella fast. You'll get to knowledge level 41. You don't have to deal with the whole Legion Fall class campaign and all that. You can pretty much get right to August and start playing video games. You feel me?
My man.
Alright, next.
Sakura Fishy says, why is there no catch-up system for champion eye-level equipment yet, like buying tokens with order hall resources?
You're going to get catch-ups in 7.3. These are going to be accessible through doing your good old order hall missions and what have you, so don't forget about your mission table. And by the way, there is going to be a mission table over in your new little hub over on Argus, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, you'll be able to follow up your champions or followers or whatever really quickly. And as for order hall resources, there are going to be certain kinds of items or certain special things that you'll be able to buy with your resources. So try not to blow too much of that stuff on your like Blood of Sargeras or what have you. You will be using them, trust me. Alright, next.
Sinbrad asks, is the Netherlight Crucible supposed to be fully RNG on tier 2 and 3? If so, why? Artifacts were supposed to be a steady form of progression where you eventually get it all, and the RNG goes directly against that.
Alright, Bob, this is going to be a hard one, huh?
If you're a bitch.
Yeah. Alright, how should I go about this? So one, I said this in like some other videos like way back in the day, like yesterday. Artifact progression is like just linear, kind of boring thing. Okay, I'm not going to say it's boring because I'm in this sort of environment. It's supposed to be like a very predictable thing, but relics are supposed to be the agency of choice where you kind of decide, okay, do I want like higher item level or do I want these kinds of traits or these kinds of traits? What the Netherlight Crucible is going to be, ultimately, it's going to be a way for you to just customize the kinds of traits that you want. Certain classes that have a much harder or even an impossible time trying to get the kind of trait combo that they want with the item level to match. The Netherlight Crucible isn't going to quite solve the whole item level problem from these relics, but it will give you more agency of choice, when it comes to choosing the kinds of relics that you want. Now, granted, they are going to be random, but you are going to have access to a vendor over on Argus that'll let you buy these special, well, they're not really special relics, but you'll be able to basically buy relics. You do need a certain PvE kind of currency for it that you are going to get on Argus. You're going to get it from World Quests, you're going to get it from missions or what have you. But once you're able to buy these relics, you'll be able to basically customize your weapon the way that you want to. The exception, again, will be kind of the item level. You might be a little dependent, once again, on RNG when it comes to the kinds of drops. And for all I know, you may or may not be able to get these relics Titan Forged or Warforged or whatever. But while this is a system of chance, it also is a system of agency that players will be able to have a little bit more control of, unlike before, where you might be farming some bum-ass dungeon. Was I potty mouthing?
Fuckity fuck.
Whatever. You might be working on some bum-ass dungeon to get the kind of relic combo that you want. This way, you won't really have to do that anymore. Let's do the next one, okay?
Calorian asks, why is the Netherlight Crucible good, but Reforging was bad?
It's hard to say that Netherlight Crucible was good because it's not really out in the hands of players yet. So once we get a strong reaction, good or bad from players, then, we'll be able to really visit this question meaningfully. But Reforging was, I don't want to say Reforging was bad. It's not like Reforging was like this evil thing. I'm speaking personally, but Reforging just kind of outlived its usefulness because there are no longer any useless stats. Even though you might feel that versatility is useless for your characters, it's not necessarily true. Both Reforging and the Netherlight Crucible is about giving the agency of choice to players. Reforging, while it did, give the ability for players to decide, hey, I want to pump into this stat or that stat, the actual process of doing it was just going up to an NPC and running a calculator or an add-on and deciding, okay, cool, boom, 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 okay, I'm done. And while the control is there, I would say that like the fun, I don't know, that's it's subjective, of course, but it's not something that I really agree with. As for the Netherlight Crucible, again, it's going to be dependent on your folks' feedback, so we're going to be counting on you guys to tell us what you think as the system evolves in the coming days and weeks before the patch launches. Next.
Oh, you acting fancy now, huh?
Yeah, I'm sassy, man. It's hot. It's hot. You don't know it because you're a box. And I'm not even really here. It's just really hot in here, okay? Just go on to the next one, please.
Super Tease asks, how much of the new artifact power in 7.3 will also work in PvP?
Pretty much none of it. If you're talking about the Netherlight Crucible trait thingamajiggers, none of that stuff is going to work. I mean, there is the trait that gives you a little bit more item level on just your weapon, but that's not going to do too much to raise your total item level to like adjust your stat template. So it's not going to be much. Next.
Karina asks, do you have a definite decision regarding the unlocking of artifact appearances for Transmog? Is it Legion only? And are they spec-bound or class-bound?
The definite decision regarding this is that we don't have a definite decision.
Wow, you're smart.
You're a bitch, okay? Now, once upon a time, there was the developer conversation where it was pretty much said that we are going to say goodbye to these artifacts or the agency in order to unlock these appearances, but we're kind of leaning away from that. So we want to have that happen. It's just that we're trying to figure out a proper mechanism on how to go about that. Like, do we want people to go through the entire Balance of Power quest line? Do we want people to go through the entire Mage Tower? Well, regarding the Mage Tower, as well as other skill-based things, such as doing finishing a level 15 Mythic Plus dungeon, and this is even assuming that those systems are still going to be around in the next expansion. That's the kind of thing that we're still trying to juggle around. So basically, yeah, we want to give players the opportunity to go back to previous content to unlock this stuff, because it's a lot of stuff that was made. Lots of art and lots of just time and effort was put into creating all these really snazzy things, and it would kind of suck if people just didn't have access to them. And meanwhile, I'm kind of strutting around with my cool shield thing, being like, haha, I look like a badass and you don't.
You cut me deep, dude.
Whatever, Bob. But that basically we want to do something for you. All right, next one.
Bloody Crow asks, do you plan on more artifact skins in 7.3 or in the future patches?
Artifact skins, not exactly. There are a ton of different kinds of skins that are going to be coming in 7.3. If you look at Wowhead, there are a whole bunch of previews on different kinds of weapons and armor sets and what have you that are coming. So directly related to the artifacts, like, is there going to be like a cool quest line that's going to unlock a snazzy, sweet appearance based on this cool lore thing that had happened with our weapon? No, that's the days of that are over. We're just kind of moving on from that. But again, there are going to be a lot of other skins that are going to be available as soon as 7.3. Next.
Zed Yoho asks, can we get account-bound prestige or at least lower the honor required? The grind is way too long and it is very alt-unfriendly, considering you need more than 600,000 honor per character to unlock all the PvP tints.
Nope.
That's it?
No, pretty much no. That's the long and short of it. I mean, it's kind of like transmog. I know that argument has kind of a lot of holes in it too, but it's kind of like transmog. I mean, you don't want to get on a male character, a male wearing character, and have them be able to unlock, everything that's lesser than male. Like, they shouldn't be able to unlock all the leather and cloth appearances. There's just kind of I guess you can call it like a line in the sand.
I guess.
Just call it a line in the sand that we just don't want to cross, and that's the line. That's it. Next.
Silent Hit asks, are you satisfied with the current state of Mythic Plus, and do you feel like the latest changes had their effect?
Yeah, we like it. Next.
Oh, come on, dude. There's more than that.
There's not much more to say on it. I mean, I don't have the data on it. These other people at Blizzard have the data on it, but I guess basically I'll try to speak to it. But basically, the satisfaction is there when where the toughest content is still going to give you the best rewards, and the not so toughest content is going to give you a nice prize, but it's not going to be like the days of yore where it was all about just blowing through like lower level Mythic Plus dungeons in order to get the most gain, in order to possibly get Titan Forge stuff, or at least a lot of artifact power. Like, those days are pretty much over, and now we're at a pretty good spot. Alright, next.
XMD84 says, M Plus is awesome, but not having teardrops forces you to raid higher difficulties. Can we get them from, like, chests from beyond plus 15?
Nope. I mean, think about it like this. Like, if I'm doing raiding and whatnot, if I do raiding like at the end of the dungeon or at the end of the raid night, however far I got, does that mean I'm guaranteed to get some sort of goody thing at the end? I mean, I guess the most relatable thing would be like the what is it, like the things that you get from those missions? What is it? Okay, you don't know either. You're dumb. I'm talking about, when you complete a mission and you get a quest to go into a dungeon, or in this case, go into a raid, and then you do the raid objective, and then ta-da, you get a snazzy little prize. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. That's kind of a similar thing, but we don't want to have that sort of kind of prize. I mean, to be honest, I'm not really all that fond of having the guaranteed chest that comes, every Tuesday reset anyway. But basically, I mean, tier is like it's a very raid thing, and it's not like, I mean, it's not like I can get access to like all the cool little trinkets and what have you that are accessible from Mythic Plus dungeons without having to go in there my damn self. I still have to go in there, do the work, and possibly maybe kind of cross my fingers, get the thing, and maybe get it at a Titan Forged, or something like that. Let's do the next one. I'm like dying out here. I'm sweating like a mother.
Publican asks, in my opinion, the Mythic Plus system is Legion's greatest success. Has the team considered expanding the system to include scaled-up dungeons from past expansions?
Well, I mean, we have done scaled-down levels from past expansions in the form of time walking, and you get scaled-up rewards. I mean, so we do have something like that. But as for like doing like a Mythic Plus sort of thing, I don't know, dude. I mean, that sounds. I mean, it sounds cool from a theme standpoint. It's like, okay, cool. Let's have a, it's Lich King time walking time. So let's do Ulduar as the time walking raid, and on top of that, we'll have the Lich King dungeons have like a Mythic Plus component to it. But I don't know, like doing something like that would kind of do weird things to the queuing system. Yeah, it would do weird things with the population that's participating in like Keystone Dungeon content. You would have people split between doing current content versus time walking content. It'd be kind of weird. It's something that we haven't really talked about or really discussed, but hey, who knows? A lot of things can happen down the road. And like, I'm dying here. Can we go to the next one?
Varisha asks, is there any chance for a Tanan-style reusable augment rune? They're a pain to require and aren't fun.
They are. There's going to be one in 7.3. Easy enough, right? Yep. Next.
Blood Guzzler asks, will Time Walking Raid's lockout management be reworked to make it easier to pick up back where you left off in the raid?
As far as I remember, I think just a couple days after Time Walking Raids had started, we issued a hotfix to make that stuff work. And if anyone was still having trouble, you would want to put in a ticket. But going forward in the future, you should be just fine. It should just be like joining any other raid through a public system. Ta-da!
Hey, we're more than halfway through, dude.
Yeah. Hey, this ain't so bad. Let's move on to the next one. This is easy. Seeing as how I'm stealing all the answers and whatever. Let's keep going.
Sober Cannibal asks, I love watching the world first race each tier. What do you think is the ideal time it should take for a raid to be first cleared?
This is kind of a weird question to ask. It's not something that, I guess we could answer it, but for the most part, it's up to the actual raiders. It's up to the actual players to answer. What do you think, Bob?
I think I'm a box.
Okay, very good. For the most part, it looks like the satisfaction in part of the world first tier of rating. It's looking like a week and a week and a half, or because they count like the number of wipes. That's a really important metric for them. So they'll go with that. But for us, it's more like a week and a week and a half. And during that time, there are small tweaks and things like that will perform in order to make the fight one balanced enough for the Mythic World first race, and to have that race be fair enough for them, and at the same time competitive. But we don't want to have it take too long where the World First Raiders are just burning out too much and they're doing multiple split runs and going through all sorts of other tactics in order to get this last boss or two down. But really, when it comes down to it, it's all about the reaction and part of the players, as well as these World First guilds that are trying to compete. And it depends on all the feedback they give to us and the one that they project out to the public. Not bad, speaking as a not World First Raider, right?
I'm still a box.
Let's do the next one.
Marco Reply asks, hey, I love Legion raiding. I was wondering, why are there a lot of soaking mechanics lately? It's hard as a casual Mythic raider.
It was a fuck up, basically. When you think about encounter design, there are multiple people that are designing certain kinds of fights, and basically what had happened, it was more or less a miscommunication where all these different designers, which are all awesome people, they were like, oh well, this would be a great fight, and let's do this and this and this, and let's have a mechanic that needs to be soak. And pretty much all the other developers kind of said the same thing, and there somewhere down the line there wasn't really a communication between all these developers as to, hey, what do you got, man? What do you got, girl? Oh, you have a soaking thing? Oh, you have a soaking thing? I have a soaking thing. Maybe we all shouldn't have soaking things. That didn't quite happen. So this is what we've got. And in the future, or in the future raid that's coming in August, we're going to plan, or we have planned to not have that sort of thing happen. Just rely on some other flaw to complain about instead. Let's move on.
Alteri asks, will nether shards be relevant in 7.3?
Yes and no. Nether shards are still going to be used to do catch-ups, and you can still buy cool little cosmetic toy things, but for the most part, it's not like we're going to unlock new legendaries, or at least we're not going to tell you about them yet, but you're not going to be able to access supercharged Argus relinquished gear or anything like that. So no, you're not going to be able to trade in nether shards for fancy schmancy stuff. It's pretty much going to be contained to whatever's on the Broken Shore. Next question, please.
Gotherian asks, do you feel like PvE utility for DPS isn't properly balanced? Or was the design intention simply for some classes to not have as much to offer to the group?
No, for the most part, we want to have our classes and the different things that DPS and tanks and heroes can bring to the table. We want them to be in relative parity. Of course, there are niches that certain classes and specs are going to have over others. But this kind of goes back to the previous question about how the rating counter design in Tomb of Sargeras went, where there was a lot more dependent on certain things than other things, i.e. soaking, and that's where you had classes that had immunities be a lot more valued. So think of it as more like just another symptom of the actual problem, which again was the whole miscommunication about the rating counters. Try not to worry about that too much. It's something that, of course, we're always striving to what?
Nail Taylor Swift.
Yeah, what he said. Of course, we want to enjoy your class and your spec, and we want you to enjoy, representing yourself in the best way that you know how. That's pretty much all I got on that, right? It was, like I said, it was just a mistake that was made in part of the encounter design, and we hope that in the future it won't be a thing, and you don't have to worry about whether or not your class sucks. Next,
Nukta asks, spec damage auras have become a major tool for balancing specs this expansion. How do you feel about them?
They work. That's yeah, they work.
I thought you'd know how this shit works.
No, I don't. The whole spec aura thing, that has to do with mostly like the developer side of things, on how they adjust values of abilities, and it just makes things a little bit easier. That's really it. For players that are on live, they're going to experience the same. They're going to experience everything the same way anyway. Next, yeah. Sorry, Bob.
D's Dukes 23 asks, any chance of us seeing class or dungeon/raid balance on a more frequent basis? Feels like number tweaks should be more frequent.
Well, hopefully not, because having tweaks happen so much is kind of a sign that we're not doing our job right, that we're doing a pretty crap job of balancing numbers in the first place. We want to try and avoid that as much as we can. We do have hotfixes available. We do have the 0.5 patches, and as well as the major patches for opportunities to do like big sweeping mechanical changes. As for number changes, these are things that we just kind of monitor as we go. In PvP, we look at numbers and representation and how that works out, and in PvE, pretty much the same difference. We look at fight mechanics, we look at class mechanics as well, and make the adjustments as we go. But preferably, we want to try to have as few of these as possible happen, because we don't want people to come in and be like, well, shit, my class changed like twice in the past month. What the heck is going on? We want to avoid that, and we want to try to avoid people standing on ground that is just too shaky with regards to how they feel about their class. Is that wordy enough, dude? Just jabber. Yeah. Let's go. I think we're almost done. So.
Azra the Troll asks, knowing LFR is meant to be a way to see end content, what is the design behind removing major mechanics entirely? It makes no sense.
The design behind removing this content kind of relates to something that I had talked about before, where they take some of these mechanics away, but at the same time they want to make the mechanics that are still there matter a little bit more. I guess the mark was kind of missed in this case with Tuma Sargeras, because the things that are there, they still don't like do a whole lot of damage, with the exception of like a couple of things. Like if you don't soak a certain thing, you're probably going to die, even if you have like fantastic gear. So something that we want to try to push is that we want to try to make LFR have a little bit more bite. We want to make it like slightly harder. We want to make it so that things matter a little bit more, because remember, there are people that do that do Raid Finder or LFR difficulty, whatever you want to call it, and for them, they do want to have some semblance of challenge. And to have like so many mechanics in and then have them not matter, that's not a very good thing. Of course, having something like Maiden, where pretty much nothing is happening, that's also bad too. So we want to make sure that in the future, the things that are happening are things that matter, things that you don't want to just fall asleep for. And hopefully players will be pretty satisfied with that. And on top of that, we're not going to have situations where you're going to get like, 10, 20 stacks of determination because of XYZ mechanic that's killing everybody.
Screw it, dude. Just remove LFR.
Next question, please.
Bareth Wow asks, how am I supposed to get 10 rated battleground wins as a prop paladin? Other unwanted specs? Mage tower appearance? ...
So that's going to change slightly. You're not going to need to be forced to play in that spec for that certain appearance. You just need to have the appearance for one thing, and then just play through whatever requirement that it is, whether it's battlegrounds or what have you. So that's one thing that we're doing for you. As for the Mage Tower stuff, well, get good.
Get good.
Yeah, get good, dude. Or do that. I don't know. Next.
Just Wait asks, have you ever considered taking measures to limit split rating? Few people enjoy doing it, but feel compelled to remain competitive. One way to address this would be to make loot boss specific, much like artifact power tokens from raids.
So I did talk about this about a week or so ago during a weekly. It was Exorcist or Exorcist or however you want to pronounce it. They were talking about how the possibility of loot locking, just as this question is stating, how that can be a possible solution to curb split rating. But you don't want to have something like that affect, basically something like that will affect a huge number of players, whereas it'll benefit, the several thousand players that are participating in the higher end rating and, competitive rating. But for everyone else, such as like me, that's going to be, there are too many negatives to it, unfortunately. Now, it's not a practice that I think should be enjoyed or be supported much longer, but at the same time, it is something that the higher end rating community decided to do. It's like, hey, let's do 5, 6, 7 split runs in order to gear our team to the teeth so we can be ready for the Mythic World first race, on the second week of rating. That's something that these players decided to do, and as much as it would benefit them to have some sort of solution for that, unfortunately, it's going to damage the rest of the players way too much. And unfortunately, there is an uneven importance between these different camps of players.
Like how awesome and you're not?
You're not. You're just a voice in my head. So move on, Bob. Let's do the next one. Oh, it's the last one. Thank God.
Bentham asks, when can we expect Worgen and Goblin remodels? I remember hearing back in WAD that they were being worked on, and now nothing.
Oh, this one's easy. Soon. All right. So that pretty much wraps that up. I want to thank Bob for reading out the questions for me.
I guess.
And of course, I want to thank Ian Hazzikostas as well as Josh Allen for giving us the actual answers to this Q&A. Of course, you can take a look at a transcript of this sort of stuff over on MMO Champion or on Wowhead. And yeah, that's pretty much it from us, right, dude?
Yep.
All right, so I hope you like this little garbage fire that I put together for you. Otherwise, share your thoughts and stay breezy.
Yeah, stay breezy, guys.
Shout out to my line. Punk ass bitch.